right, stay right there. While students are suffering academically, the largest teachers union is being accused of focusing on woke priorities.
Now that I'm on my way, you still
Let it out.
The largest teachers union in the country is more concerned with woke nonsense than your children's well-being. As more kids fall behind in school and struggle with mental health thanks to liberal lockdowns, the National Education Association is busy pushing their progressive agenda. Like the proposal to replace the word mother with birthing parent in their teachers' contract, and also saying things like this.
We will fight unceasingly for the rights of our LGBTQ plus students and educators. We will say gay, we will say trans, we will use the words that validate our students and their families. We are being called to defend freedom at its hour of maximum danger.
Okay. What is the end game here, Harold?
So the NEA were great supporters of me when I was in Congress, but I disagree with what at least the clip that we showed here. I think we should teach kids kindness and compassion and respect and hard work. But the NEA had to be talking about how do we teach the tools we need to teach these kids algebra and physics. How do we teach the humanities, everything from Orwell to Locke to James Baldwin to Harper Lee? How do we ensure that kids know how to spell? How do we ensure that kids are learning what they need, not only to go from 3rd to 4th grade, but ensure that they're ready to go to 7th and 8th and 10th and 11th and college for that matter? That's where the focus needs to be. This is not a statement about lacking compassion about anyone's sexual orientation. But when you teach kids to be kind, guess what? They're kind to everyone. When you teach kids compassion, they show compassion to everyone. Those are the values that should be taught in our schools. Not a certain race, not a certain sexual orientation or sexual preference, but teach kids the basics and let parents and homes also reinforce and even begin some of the other conversations that happen as kids get older. That's what I'd love to hear them talk about.
Jesse, you're in the thick of it with your daughters, and what are they coming home? What sense are you getting of what's going on at school? Is this lunacy coming home to you?
They're a Catholic school, Judge. They don't play that. About the whole changing the word moms to birthing people.
That's crazy. Let me be clear.
You don't change,
that's crazy.
You don't change the English language to cater to 1% of the population. All right? These people live very small fraction of this country. And I'm fine with it. It's a free country. Do your thing. But that 1% has to accept that the whole rest of the country doesn't do that thing. And they have to have a little humility and kind of jive with it. Permission to make some really bad analogies. Diana, please hold my hand.
Oh, boy.
Let's say we go to Japan, and 1% of the population in Japan is American. Do the Japanese all of a sudden say, hey guys, we're all going to use forks from now on? No! Let me do another one.
No, that's enough.
Let's say 1% of this country is Japanese. Do we make Japanese the official language of the United States? No.
Spanish.
This is a melting pot. Melt! We don't have French come here, South Africans come here, Egyptians come here and start telling us how we have to say this and say that.
Thank you, Jesse.
Melt!
Thank you, Jesse. Okay.
Should I say melt one more time?
No, thank you, Jesse. Don't you think this is odd coming from people who are fighting for women's rights?
Oh, yes. I love that point. That's an excellent one. And the Five is doing the NEA and the Democrats a real service by pointing all of this out. Birthing people is the new Latinx.
Right.
And Latinx has been completely debunked by the Democrats who are like, oh, wait, that wasn't a good idea to call them that for 2 years and it didn't make sense to anybody and alienated people that are possible supporters of the Democratic Party. The other thing is the CDC was found out today because of get the records about what happened. And during the lockdowns, they had a half-hour meeting with parents groups. That's it. and they spent all the rest of their time with the teachers unions, and we know what happened. The schools got shut down. People weren't allowed to come back. The schools ended up with all that money that they still haven't paid, they still haven't spent. And there are groups like Parents Defending Education, and they're suing the CDC, saying you must have balance. That you're in violation of the law. You have to have a chance for us to have public meetings, and that hadn't happened during that time. So I think the teachers unions are part of the reason that President Biden will end up in those low 30s.
Interesting. And in the end, Greg, don't you think that COVID had a silver lining, and this is one of them?
Well, the fact that we could see what was going on.
Yes.
I'm assuming that the NEA is against school choice. Like,
Yeah,
oh, okay.
man.
Yeah. And anybody at this point who opposes school choice is protecting a destructive system that harms minorities who don't have other options. Yep. And that makes them truly racist oppressors. The NEA is the KKK with summers off. Think about, it's true. They're racist. If you're not allowing an opportunity for people who can't afford a good education to have a good education, you're trapping kids in a life that does not get much better. You worry about gang crime and you worry about gun violence, but by that time, it's too late, right? Public school, man, they destroy a kid before he even gets there by opposing any kind of opportunity to escape it. So think about this argument that we always hear from Biden and the left about electric cars. Not everybody can afford them, but as people buy more of them and they get more widely used, they become cheaper, prices will come down. But they don't use that for school choice, right? Their argument is not because not everybody can afford school choice, private schools, that option is discriminatory. Well, no. It's just when you make it available for everybody and give them options, the price comes down. They don't say that because they don't want the competition. They still want to have their grip on your kids, and you can see why. Because they don't, as long as they control their kids, they really don't have to do their job. All they have to do is talk about these rights. And by the way, it's less than 1% what you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's probably
way less
1/10 of 1%. If that, they don't like doing the numbers on that because if you found out how many birthing people there are, you could probably count them on your fingers and toes.
Please subscribe to our channel and comment below. Thank you.